This is Mags on Media, looking at some of the biggest winners and trendsetters from the 2018 Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity. Many of the winning campaigns demonstrating the power of creativity in changing human behavior. Now, we've been lamenting the perils of plastic pollution on the show before, and one of the biggest winners at this year's event was a campaign called Trash Isles for the Plastic Oceans Foundation. It won 2 Grand Prix in the design and public relations categories.
In the Pacific Ocean, there is so much plastic, an area the size of France has formed. Governments have simply ignored it. So we found a way to ensure they couldn't, by turning the country-sized trash patch into an official country.
Les trash isles.
To trash isles.
À la isla de plástico.
Des îles poubelles.
Introducing the Trash Isles. On World Oceans Day, the Plastic Oceans Foundation and LADBIBE submitted an application to the United Nations to recognise the Trash Isles as an official country, because under the laws of the UN, other countries are then obliged to clean it up.
Declared the part of the ocean where all the trash is gathered, the plastic, the Trash Isles. Has the petition been received, and what's your take on it?
I think it's a very innovative and creative way to bring attention to a problem that is often not seen.
Having met the criteria to become a country, the Trash Isles began recruiting citizens online. In the first few weeks, we had more citizens than some countries. The Trash Isles had everything an official country needs. A currency called debris, a passport for new citizens, and a national flag. We even had big-name celebrities signing up.
I think this is the first honorary citizenship I've had from any emerging nation.
Thank you very much.
Trash Isles citizenship.
Trash Isles. Trash Isles.
Some even took on official roles.
I'm Judi Dench, the Trash Isles Queen.
I will be the best Secretary of your Defense that I can.
With over 200,000 citizens, 50 million video views, and 500 million people reached, the Trash Isles put the plastic problem firmly on the map.
I will make reference to the Trash Isles from here on out.
Another environmental campaign that won big this year, and one that we've featured on the show before, was the groundbreaking work done for the tiny island nation of Palau. The Palau Pledge taking home a total of 7 lions, including 3 Grand Prix in direct, titanium, and the brand new Sustainable Development Goals categories.
Now, if you're heading to the Pacific island of Palau, you'll be signing up to a new pledge.
Human impact on Earth's environment is one of the biggest challenges facing the world today. The small island nation of Palau was feeling these impacts acutely. Tourists were damaging reefs, littering oceans, and poaching protected species. But how could a small local population with limited resources police the high volume of visitors? What if we made the tourists police themselves? Introducing the Palau Pledge, a first-of-its-kind immigration policy for good. All visitors now need to sign an environmental pledge to gain admittance into Palau. Stamped into the passport of international arrivals, the pledge is a formal promise to Palau's children.
Children of Palau.
I take this pledge.
Preserve and protect your beautiful and unique island home.
To implement this policy, government, the tourist industry and citizens were brought together. A new visa entry stamp was designed and issued in multiple languages. And immigration laws were permanently changed.
The joy that comes with the pledge is the recognition that, hey, I can make a difference.
But we didn't stop at the passport stamp. We redesigned the tourism experience via a website, an in-flight film, a passport insert, local education, business accreditation, signage, penalties, and collateral. Launched at the UN, the Palau Pledge has been praised by international leaders and groups. Influencers helped inspire people to take the pledge online in solidarity with Palau.
Are you already seeing tourists behaving differently?
The awareness level is very high.
Leonardo DiCaprio has been quick to endorse the pledge.
The reaction on social media has been widespread.
The Palau Pledge has raised global awareness of the responsibility this generation has to the next. But its biggest impact is local, in Palau.
I hope my children can see the beautiful place as I see today.
Hello again, mate.
Now, while purpose-driven work took centre stage at this year's festival, one of the year's big winners was the irrepressible, tongue-in-cheek Super Bowl Tide ad, which really got the jurors smiling. It walked away with a film Grand Prix as well as the coveted Titanium line, which recognises work that advances and expands the creative industry. And this informed a chat with Chaka Sobhani, Chief Creative Officer at the Leo Burnett Agency in London. And I wondered if, in a time of purpose-driven creative work, whether the ad industry isn't perhaps taking itself a little too seriously, and if there is still indeed a place for humour during tough global economic times.
No, I don't think advertising is taking itself too seriously. I think it's rightfully looking at each brand and in its own merit and looking at, you know, what's the intent, what are we trying to say, who are we trying to talk to, and what's the best way. You know, I don't think you go into a kind of a situation thinking, oh, it's going to be this type of genre, or it's going to be purpose-driven, or it's going to be humorous or whatever. I think it's the best way to communicate and build relationships with your audiences and stuff. So no, and I think there's, particularly this year actually, I think there's enough of a body of work. I love the breadth of it all. It feels like this sort of delicious feast of some much more serious purpose-driven work, but also at the same time, a lot of levity actually.
Why then, if you agree with the premise, does advertising perhaps need more comedy?
I'm not sure whether it needs to. I think the strength of it is how powerful it can be, because you can talk about some of the crunchier stuff, actually, or you can actually just provide a moment of entertainment and humour, which is equally as valid, by the way. I think there is an equal importance to being able to entertain people and make them feel brighter and lighter and more hopeful about the world.
Is it possible to teach comedy to a young copywriter?
Ooh. I think you can teach a copywriter to be humorous. I think, I don't even just copywriter, I think any skill set, any person from any discipline, you can lighten people in terms of the tone of their work. I think humour is a real craft. And I think it's bloody difficult. And I think that's one of the reasons as well that we don't see it punch through so much, because it's difficult to get to real funny.
Are you able to spot someone in an advertising agency with comedic talent?
I think you can spot funny bones, 100%. I don't think it naturally comes from someone being a funny person. I don't think that's got nothing to do with whether you're a funny writer. There's a little sass and there's a little kick to someone, but I've known writers who are quite serious actually as people, and almost a little dour sometimes, but when they start to write, there's a wit and there's a spark in them, and you just see it straight away. It's effortless. I think that's the point. That
fear of being a copywriter, how do you turn that fear into amazing?
I think in any endeavour, I mean, definitely in any creative endeavour, there is fear inherent because you don't want something to be rubbish. So that's the thing that you're wrestling with, is a sort of a sense of perfection, and perfection only in that, well, one from a craft point of view, obviously, but perfection in the fact that you want people to connect with whatever you're writing and the idea that you're coming up with. So that's the fear of getting that bit wrong and it missing a beat and it not connecting, and sort of then you've created something in a vacuum or whatever. So, and the only way to fight the fear is the fact that you're more motivated by the fact that you want to actually bring this thing into life. You want to see how it lives and breathes, but you've got to have that to, you know, what's the old saying, you know, nothing good is ever easy.
Okay, Chaka, that was a fantastic interview. That was good for a rehearsal. Are you good for a take now?
So silly. You are so naughty.
Coming up on the programme, the campaigns that set the highest bar for global creativity at this year's Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity.